Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Citizens in Barbados say that they've still not been added to the voters list. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for today, Wednesday, May 16. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Despite a ruling by the Caribbean Court of Justice in favor of duly qualified Commonwealth citizens being allowed to vote in the upcoming elections, some say they still have not been registered by the Elections and Boundaries Commission, the EBC, nor have they been formally rejected. In a landmark sitting of the CCJ on Sunday to hear matter between UWI Professor Eddie Ventos and the EBC President Dennis Byron ruled that the court was satisfied that the legal and regulatory conditions for his registration have been met and that he should be registered by midday on Monday. The CCJ president expressed the view that the court's decision should also resolve the matter for other Commonwealth citizens resident in Barbados for the relevant qualifying period who are also claiming a right to be registered as voters under the Barbados laws. But on Wednesday, CMC spoke with two residents who say that up to the time of the interview, they had not been registered and no reason had been given. Keisha Hyde-Poketa is an attorney who has been living and working in Barbados for over 16 years. And she says she applied to be registered since early May and was told that the EBC would verify her address and get back to her. But she says despite a number of attempts to get a follow-up, she is still unregistered.
So I am a CARICOM national. I have been living and working in Barbados since 2002, which is 16 years. And based on the People's Representations Act, I qualify as someone who is eligible to vote. I would like to make it known that living and working here is a fundamental thing because we are also contributing to the Barbados economy. We own property here. We pay taxes like everyone else. We own cars. We shop at the supermarket. We are contributing. Some of us are employers. In fact, some of the persons who've responded to us have been here for over 20-something years, and they're contributing to the economy in so many ways. And not only that, we benefit less than Barbadians because, for example, we are not allowed to participate in free health care, for example, because that's privilege to the citizens. And we're not asking for that. We just want to have a voice as well because we are, we love this country. We've been here contributing, and we want to participate in the democracy of this country.
Tara Frater, also attorney with Jamaican origin, has been working in Barbados since 2010. And she said she applied in February and is still not on the voters list.
So I've been residing and working here continuously for approximately 8 years now. You know, beyond all the points that Keisha made about being property owners or being employers or paying taxes and making clear fiscal contributions to Barbadian society, we also give back in a number of different ways. Both Keisha and myself volunteer a lot of our time in various corporate social responsibility activities. We are advocates for important industries which drive the Barbados economy, such as the international business sector. We both work in that area. We spend a lot of time lobbying the cause of Barbados and working in partnership with the public sector to help improve the business environment in Barbados, as well as the relevant laws that facilitate economic activity. So our hearts are here, and we make a valuable contribution, and we are only asking for recognition of the rights that we have under law, which, as Keisha says, are not absolute or equivalent to the rights of citizens, but which are perhaps commensurate to the contribution that we make to the economy. So we think it's only fair that we be allowed to participate in the democratic process and have a say in the community that we help to build and that affects our lives as well.
Both women say they are willing to do whatever is legal and necessary to assist the EBC in ensuring their names and the names of other eligible Commonwealth citizens are put on the final list when it's published at the end of this week. Both Freighter and Hyde Porchetta say they have been in contact with more than 30 people in Barbados who have had similar experiences with the EBC. Meanwhile, attorneys representing Commonwealth citizen resident in Barbados have called on the Chief Electoral Officer, Angela Taylor, to have their clients registered in keeping with the CCJ ruling. In a May 16th letter to Taylor, the attorneys asserted that the EBC had an obligation, once an applicant satisfies the criteria for registration, to register that applicant. The lawyers said that in the circumstances, the EBC has no option but to issue notices of refusal to those applicants who do not satisfy the requirements of the Act and regulations, and in all other instances where they have satisfied the conditions, to register them forthwith. CMC News attempted to get a reaction from Taylor but was told that she was not in office at the time that we called. They did, however, promise to pass on our message for her to return a call to us. Well, live in studio with me is pollster and political analyst Peter Wickham to take a look at what is unfolding on the campaign trail. Peter, thanks for being here with us. And let's start with the issue of the Commonwealth citizens who want to exercise their right to vote. And as you've heard earlier, that there are a number of them who are desirous of voting. They've met the regulations, but they still have not been registered. And we also heard that during the CCJ hearing on Sunday, Justice Byron described the matter as one that affects the integrity of the state of Barbados. So from your perspective as a political analyst, what does that say about Barbados and democracy?
Yeah, it doesn't say a whole lot, and frankly, I'm embarrassed by the whole fiasco. Like you, I attempted to call Angela Taylor yesterday. I attempted to reach her. I also attempted to reach her deputy, Mr. Brown, and anyone else in that department who could say definitively that based on the CCJ ruling that all persons who satisfy the criteria would be included automatically. Because to me, it's not a question of someone asking or begging to be on the list. There should be a level of automaticity that would allow a person who is qualified to be on the list. No one in the office could tell me, and everyone was saying to me basically the only person who can give me any information is Angela Taylor, who was in meetings. It seems as though she's been in meetings for the better part of the month, and like you, I'm awaiting her call. Frankly, the matter is a political fiasco. The laws are clear. I don't think that a person in that situation should have to justify anything other than the fact that they have been here long enough to satisfy the law, and they should be registered. I think the concern from a political perspective is that clearly these people are not asking to be registered so that they can support the government that has been preventing them from becoming registered. And I think that that is a fear. But the reality is that it is a legal requirement. And I think it's unfortunate that the Electoral Office is behaving in this way. I think it is unfortunate that the government that manages the Electoral Office is behaving in this way on the eve of an election, in spite of the fact that we have had not only High Court but Appeal Court rulings telling us that, look, this is the thing. So it's straightforward for me. It's something that has to be complied with, and I hope that Angela Taylor has some kind of an epiphany over the next 2 days, and that all of those names are on the final list. If not, it will be an embarrassment for Barbados.
Well, I do hope that CMC can get to speak with Ms. Taylor, because it is important that we have their side of the story, and we will continue to try to reach her. But moving apart now, and we're looking at the regular campaign rhetoric. There is regular campaign rhetoric. We can expect that in Caribbean politics. And but we're now seeing surfacing allegations about the leader of the Barbados Labour Party, Mia Mottley, and those allegations more or less were brought to the fore, even though it did not start there, but it was brought to the fore by her predecessor, Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Owen Arthur. So my question to you is, what is your take on this, and do you think it can hurt Ms. Mottley's chances of becoming probably the first female Prime Minister in Barbados?
Well, I think that it's intended to hurt her chances. I think that Mr. Arthur has made his intention to prevent her quite clear, and I think it's intended to do just that. But I think it has been having the counter effect. The reality is that we understand former Prime Minister Owen Arthur's mission. It's been consistent over the last couple of years, where he has attacked her repeatedly. This matter now is almost farcical, because there was an innuendo or an imputation that she was involved in activities that she technically could not have been involved in, because at the time she was not Deputy Prime Minister. But the matter was presented in such a way that it made it appear as though she was responsible for things that she was not. The matter, I think, has taken our election rhetoric into a place that it has never been before. I think it's most unfortunate, and based on my interactions with people on the street, our reading of it is one that suggests that we understand where former Prime Minister Owen Arthur is coming from, and most people find it offensive, because there is a lack of concrete evidence in terms of what is being presented that should say that she should not be Prime Minister. The fact is that she is incredibly more popular than the current Prime Minister. The current government is struggling in the election from all indications, and it seems as though the ray of hope that they have been holding on to is attacks from the former Prime Minister. And again, as I said, it's taken our politics to a most unfortunate place, somewhat like the whole EBC matter.
But I want to ask you this, because could it be that now you have an electorate that is more astute, more aware of what their rights are, more aware of what's expected of the people who put themselves up to govern this country, and so they're going to be demanding more even before they put their X's?
And certainly this is something that leaders in all of the Caribbean islands understand. There's a level of transparency and openness now with which the last two elections were prosecuted, and I think that the same applies to Barbados. Barbados has always been a very aware society, very politically aware society, and I think that the manner in which we are being treated, and certainly if you look at the situation from the time the election is called, the opposition has held probably 3 press conferences. The government has yet to hold one. And indeed, consistent with that, we've had a situation where the Prime Minister is yet to hold a press conference where people can interact and ask questions directly. It's odd behavior. And as you said, in light of the fact that you're dealing with a well-informed electorate that wants to ask and interact with questions, we are expecting a campaign that deals with fundamental issues that are on the table, issues of our economy, issues of sewage flowing in the streets, that type of thing. And we are being fed a diet of scandal and gossip and rumor and innuendo. I find it offensive, and I think that many Barbadians do find it offensive, and we hope that as of the manifesto launch tomorrow, the election campaign will turn a corner and we'll be able to compare the two options around the table.
30 seconds for the final question. Now, there are a number of small parties here in Barbados, and they're contesting the elections, and I just want to get from you how you see these parties affecting the outcome, one way or the other.
Yeah, that's easy. These parties have no impact. My scientific reading is that they're impacting on the popularity of the current government. I think that people who are interested in supporting the Barbados Labour Party are somewhat more unified in their opinion, and the third parties, as is the case with the third parties in Antigua and Grenada elections that we had this year, will be of absolutely no consequence.
Peter, thanks again. It's always a pleasure. Stay with us. We have more election developments in Barbados when we return.
Well, about 3 years ago, I posed a question on this program. Who do you think we should trust in the Middle East, Israel or Iran? Last week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on television that Israeli spies had smuggled a secret nuclear weapons archive out of Iran. For those of you who are keeping score, that's a bad thing. But on the day that President Trump announced he was pulling the U.S. out of the Iran nuclear deal, CNN referred to the Israeli evidence as flawed.
Welcome back, and we continue on the election front in Barbados. The father of Barbados Labour Party leader Mia Mottley is hitting back at allegations from former Prime Minister Owen Arthur that he sought a waiver of income tax arrears. Prominent Queen's Counsel Elliot Mottley on Wednesday denied approaching the government led by Arthur more than 2 decades ago to get a waiver from the Inland Revenue Department. The issue first emerged on the political platform on Sunday when Prime Minister Frundle Stewart said BLP leader Mia Mottley should tell the public whether her father was among those who benefited from waivers totaling millions of dollars. On Monday, Arthur said he did receive an application from the elder Mottley but denied approving any tax waivers, and he joined Stewart in calling on the BLP leader to clear the air on the matter. At a news conference on Wednesday, Elliot Mottley said what he did apply for was a waiver of interest.
At no stage did I ever make a request for any tax waiver, and at no stage did I receive a tax waiver. Let me make it very clear that there was no need for the Cabinet to be involved in my application because it was made under the Income Tax Act and not under the Duties, Taxes and Other Payment Exemption Act, Cap 67B of the laws of Barbados. Accordingly, it was entirely untruthful and misleading for Mr. Arthur to make the assertions that I applied for a tax waiver, a waiver of tax, which would have invoked the process under the Duties, Taxes and Other Payments Exemption Act. I am particularly disappointed that Mr. Arthur, for whom I acted as an attorney at law and continue to act as an attorney at law, and on whose behalf I obtained damages for defamation, now resort to making the kind of statements he made.
He told reporters that at no time during the 1994 to 1999 period did his daughter act as Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs. The senior attorney, who was flanked by Queen's Counsel Roger Ford, did not field questions from the media as he indicated that defamation litigation surrounding the issue was pending. Meantime, BLP leader Mia Mottley has disclosed that the Barbados government is being hauled before the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, yet again. This time it's over import duties on cement. She made the disclosure on Tuesday night at a political meeting. Mottley said regional cement giant Trinidad Cement Limited, TLC, and its Barbados-based subsidiary Arawak Cement Limited have filed legal action against the government, accusing it of contravening the rules governing the CARICOM single market and economy. She said while she could not go into the facts of the case, the lawsuit was lodged last Friday with the Trinidad-based CCJ, which in its original jurisdiction interprets and applies the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, which established CARICOM.
These people are going in the original jurisdiction against the government of Barbados, and they are saying that we breached rules under the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas by unilaterally reducing the duties on cement, import duties on cement, the common external tariff, from 60% to 5%. 2 years, 2015 and 2016, 2.5 years ago, this government, through Minister Don Valinis and the Ministry of Finance and Customs, agreed to drop the common external tariff. They did not go to the Council of Trade and Economic Development, COTED, as they were required to do at law.
Citizens of Antigua and Barbuda will take part in a referendum in a few months to decide whether the country should replace the London Privy Council with the CCJ as its final appeal court. Attorney General Stedroy Benjamin made the announcement on Wednesday at a special sitting of the High Court to mark the retirement of CCJ President Sir Dennis Byron.
My Prime Minister has given me instructions that within the next 120 days, this country will be going to referendum to have Antigua decide whether we should accede to the federal jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice. We have court division, and we, Sir Dennis, will live that dream.
Back in 2016, the Gaston Brown-led administration launched a public education campaign in hopes that a referendum on adopting the Trinidad-based CCJ would have been held by March 2017. But the campaign was subsequently halted and the referendum postponed. Only Barbados, Guyana, Belize and Dominica have so far signed on to the CCJ as their final court of appeal. And Antigua and Barbuda's former Attorney General Justin Simon, who also spoke at the ceremony on Wednesday, said it would be prudent for all the other members of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States to vote on the move together.
Only Dominica in the OECS is part of the CCJ. But CCJ is appellate jurisdiction. But I wish to make two comments on that matter. It is my view that the referendum should be held not singly by each state, but it would be a better thing if all of the OECS states go together on the same day.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, calls for a women's Premier Football League in Jamaica. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Starts from sunrise, a city filled with an island vibe, music, people, color, friendship, culture, and the warmest of smiles. Come enjoy the unique costumes, pulsating steel pans, exotic culture, exciting fetes, and unforgettable people. Discover Antigua's Carnival, the Caribbean's greatest summer festival, July 27th to August 8th, because the beach really is just the beginning.
Follow your heart to the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27th to July 1st, 2018. Featuring Kester Band, Sizzler Lungi, Small Axe Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Watt. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Wayne Wonder. August Alfina, Aishona, Byron Messiah, Dasha, Shaka Dimas, and Pliers, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
The Career Development Institute's Caribbean Rising Stars in Beauty competition determines the best and most talented in hair, makeup, nails, or barbering. Win a scholarship and prizes worth more than $5,000. Build your clientele and expand your business. Upload 4 photographs of your best work to our email address. Watch the public vote on our Facebook page. Join the winners at the prestigious Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center for a live finals competition. Email careerdevelopment.institute@yahoo.com. The Career Development Institute, bringing the best in regional beauty together.
Football takes the spotlight in our midweek sportscast. There are calls for a National Women's Premier League in Jamaica. It comes from the Reggae Girls assistant coach, who believes the lack of local matches is affecting the team's readiness for major international tournaments. And as we hear in this report from TVJ's Andrew Price, he believes that a Premier League division would be best suited for players going into national duty.
There were hugs and smiles on Monday night as the small delegation arrived, led by assistant coach Andrew Price, after topping their group and grabbing the lone spot to the second round. The Reggae Girls ran over Guadeloupe 13-0 before dispatching of Martinique 3-0, and they headed into the game with the host Haiti locked on points. After trailing 2-0 going into the halftime break, the girls rebounded to draw level with the Haitians and top the group with a superior goal difference. According to Coach Price, it was a perfectly executed team effort.
The tone was set from the camp in Orlando, where the team really gelled very quickly. We went to Haiti with the mindset that we wanted to win all 3 games. But sometimes things won't go to plan, and we had to fight hard in the last match. We played against a team in a very hostile environment. We were down 2-0, and they team showed a lot of resilience and character, and we came back to tie the game.
Head coach Hugh Menzies has already blamed the last season's absence of the Women's National Premier League for several locally based players not being match sharp and missing the final cut. It's something Coach Price wants to be urgently addressed.
Well, the fact of the matter is that the JFF's Women's Committee and the technical committee is working assiduously to get a league started this summer so we can get the local players active. Those players who participated in the recent tournament, they'll have to continue to get themselves into condition because the next round starts August 25th, so we have to keep them. We have the requisite coaching here and the requisite training staff here. People like Jason who can keep them in good shape as we progress, and hopefully we can have a camp prior to the 25th of August so that we can get together again and really continue working on things because it's a work in progress.
Trinidad and Tobago's under-20 squad is in Guadeloupe to take that team on, as well as 4 other regional countries in the Guadeloupe Six-Nation Invitational Tournament. The matches are part of the Twin Island Republic's preparation for a major football tournament coming in November. More in this C-Sport report.
An 18-man Trinidad and Tobago under-20 men's team departed these shores for Guadeloupe this morning to contest the Six-Nation Guadeloupe Invitational Tourney from May 18th to the 21st. TNT will open their campaign against Costa Rica's national under-20 team on Saturday and will meet Martinique's under-20s the following day. And Coach Russell Latipi is keen to see how this particular group gets along.
It's a fantastic opportunity for the team, for the boys, for the coaching staff to see exactly where we are in terms of our preparation. So we're definitely looking forward to it. I know that we're ready to go. I know the players are ready to go. So it would give us a good indication of where we are and where we need to go.
The other teams competing include hosts Guadeloupe, French Guiana and Haiti, with the group winners to determine the tournament champs on Monday. TNT is preparing for the CONCACAF Under-20 World Cup qualifiers in November, but Latipi is still keen to see how well they understand the technical process that is being taught to them in training.
We have a bunch of talented players, as we always do in this country. I think what we were lacking and what we're trying to work on is the tactical side of the game, you know, in relation to where the ball is, what the positional play would be. We've been improving on it so far, and we just need to keep working at it.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
The Career Development Institute's Caribbean Rising Stars in Beauty competition determines the best and most talented in hair, makeup, nails, or barbering. Win a scholarship and prizes worth more than $5,000. Build your clientele and expand your business. Upload 4 photographs of your best work to our email address. Watch the public vote on our Facebook page. Join the winners at the prestigious Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center for a live finals competition. Email careerdevelopment.institute@yahoo.com. The Career Development Institute, bringing the best in regional beauty together.
Follow your heart to the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27th to July 1st, 2018. Featuring Kester Band, Sifa Lungi, Small Axe Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Watt. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Wayne Wonder. Fight, August Alfina, Aishona, Byron Messiah, Dasha, Shaka Dimas, and Pliers, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Again, the major developments of this day. Some Commonwealth citizens in Barbados say they've still not been added to the voters list despite a CCJ ruling on the issue. And in sport, calls for Women's Premier Football League in Jamaica. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.